Hi everyone, it's nice to welcome you back to Let's Do Bonsai. Sorry about the terrible pun. Been to the bonsai show today in Doncaster, the Carboot sale, Bonsai Carboot sale. Managed to keep my hands in my pockets because I've been buying a bit too much recently. But in the middle of the show, on one of the stalls, there was a guy selling some yew trees, 3 for £10. I haven't got yew tree. I've now got 3 of them. These 2 are okay in these pots, so we'll put them towards the back, nice and happy. But when I picked all 3 of them up, one of them slopped straight out of the pot and it's hardly got any root. So we'll have a quick look at that now. Before I bring the other yew tree in, I just thought I'd show you, I picked up a week or so ago the mimosa, the sensitive plant. And it's been giving out all these lovely little purple flowers all over. Some of them have come and gone. We've missed getting them on camera, but we've got a load more here that are ready to bud out. And it was a bit smaller when we got it, so it has grown quite a bit. It's the Mimosa pudica, the sensitive plant. It's a shrubby house plant. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. £3.50. What am I going to do? I'm not walking away from that with those lovely purple flowers on there. So I had to have it, and we will place it somewhere in amongst all these and allow it to do a bit of growing. I think we'll place it just up here for now, out of the way, so it can continue to go. You can see that lovely purple flower there. So this is the 3rd of the yews, and when I picked it up I kind of worked out why they were 3 for £10, but I think I'm still happy to try and do something with it. Basically it fell straight out of the pot. It had this lovely movement on it which I fell for straight away. But as soon as I picked the pot up, this leant forward and it just jumped straight out of the pot, and that's what we've got. So we're going to have to plant this and try and get some roots growing on it. So I think it might be time for some of Tom's magic potions that we have, and yeah, we'll get it planted into a bit of something. We'll try and make sure we keep that bit of root there and whatever else is on here, but I think we're going to have to plant it into one of the beds and hope that it just puts some roots down. So what we have here to work with this roots is the Mykos root pack, and basically you take one of these pack bags out and you plant that at the root level, so it'll sit, the roots will sit basically on top of one of those packs. And then we have got the Azus root booster, vegetative growth promoter, and you'd make this up into a bit of a watery mix for watering with, which we'll probably will do, but for transplanting roots, for transplanting trees, you dust the root ball, and it says it's a bit weirdly worded. It says dust root ball of starts with 1 to 2 teaspoons, 5 to 10 mil. So what we'll do is we will dig out some of this soil. See if we can't get it into this pot. We may look for a slightly larger pot because it's already kind of out of this pot. So I think, yeah, no. We'll look for a larger pot to put this in. We'll put the Mykos root pack in at the root level, and we'll give the transplanted roots a good dusting with the Azus, and hopefully that will stimulate some root growth in there. So let me try and find something to put this in. so we can plant it on, and we'll go with that. We may end up planting it outside in one of the vegetable beds, and I can place that and dust the roots out there. So I'll have a quick look, see if I've got a decent pot to put it in. If not, we'll be outside planting it in the bed. So what I did have was this training pot, one of these plastic Luda pots. I've had it knocking around for a while and not really used it at all. It's just been gathering dust. But as I placed the tree into there, if I just plant it over to one side, those roots just fit into the edge of this pot, so they will sit in there quite nicely, and hopefully they will continue to do a bit of something over there. So we'll place our root pack, our Mekos root pack, into underneath that root ball mass there, the lack of it that there is, and then we'll sprinkle the roots with the Azus. So here's our pot, obviously, and if I just open up the Mekos root pack packets, you get two of these. They're like tea bags, so you get two of these, and we will place that just where the roots, the main roots, are going to sit, and then as it's watered, that will do you know, release its goodness into those areas, and hopefully work some magic, because we've got not a lot of root on here. I'm not quite sure how a yew would root back in. I probably should look at the other two yews just to see what roots are in them, but I don't really want to take them out of the pot. They're not loose in the pot, they're not jumping out. The fact that I paid £10 for 3 of them, if we can save this one and give those a chance just to sit and grow, I'll be happy with that. So obviously there we are with our root pack in place. We're going to lift the tree up and place that on top of the root pack, and I have the Azus, and what I will do, if I can just get the tree to stay a little bit still, it wants to jump out at me, I will just take a teaspoon of the Azus, and then just sprinkle that over those roots, in and where the extended roots are going to be. And that is it says a teaspoon or 2, so that looks like quite a lot in there to me. We'll position those other roots into position, and I think it's time to start filling in and getting this tree stable in the pot. So it's kind of just stood up on its own at the moment, and I've got a little pot that I'm going to just help chuck the soil in with, and hopefully we can get this tree stable in this pot and get those roots happy in the soil. I'll just push them down a little bit so they get into that. We might just put a little bit more of the Azus into that little part there. So we'll fill in on this left hand side to help stabilize the tree. I'm doing this so badly today. It is quite top heavy, so it wants to lean over quite a bit, so I'll just press that in just to see if I can't get some stability of where that's at, and we have got some. Right, so if I just work at this soil now, a little bit of the part teaspoon of the azus on these extended roots, so they hopefully work their magic. I'll seal up that packet so it doesn't get damp and contaminated, and hopefully this azus is magic stuff. So we'll continue placing this soil into the pot. This is a mixture of some stones, some straight up earth soil. It basically came in the pot that it was in. It seems quite decent to me, so I'm sticking with it. It's what it was in, and we'll put a bit of our mix across the top when we run out. So that's all that we've got from that, so we'll just work that down and into those roots, because there will be some bits of gaps underneath, so we'll just use our root rake and get that into the roots. It'll help firm up the tree as well. See, it just wants to move every time you hit that major root. Hopefully it will grow. Again, I've not got much experience with yew, so if anybody out there has, feel free to give me some confidence in that it will survive and we'll have not just be wasting our time here. The wood louse there, we'll get that out. Okay, still a little bit wobbly. I've got some leftover soil here from what I was doing another time, so we'll pour that into the top. That is a mixture of the clay particles and perlite. And I've got plenty more of that where that came from as well. But there'll be not a lot of space for that to go into. I think we've probably filled in around the roots down there. So we'll just empty all of our little bits of excess stones and pebbles. This is the top dressing that I used at one point, so we'll put the top dressing on the top. This is nice and heavy, so it'll help keep this in position. Nice and heavy stone. It's the Royal Horticultural Society dressing pebbles that I had, so they will keep this tree down. They were, like I say, carried quite a bit of weight with them, so that can only be good. Okay, so there's a little bit more left. Get that around the tree. We'll not worry about putting any moss on and dressing it up and putting anything fancy on it at all. That should hopefully work well for us. Time will tell. And all that remains to do is to give this a real good watering through. So you can see now that nice bended root is buried within the soil, the bended trunk root. We'll keep that underneath for now. We know it's there, we'll rediscover it. It's the reason I bought the tree. And it's really nice and green up top, so unless they took it out and dug it up and cut the roots off to put it in the sale, I don't quite understand, but it might have been doing okay, you know, with the little bit of roots that was on, who knows. But feel free to tell me in the comments whether I'm wasting my time or not. We'll keep it watered, keep it looked after, and we'll see how we go. So I'm just going to come in and give it a good water, but before we water it, I'm going to just prove to Tom at Grow and Clip Bonsai that, Tom, I do listen, I do watch. We don't really particularly need to do it with this surface, but we're going to come in and spray the surface just to help retain it in the position where it is and stop that when we water it, it doesn't chuck it all over the place. Now with this top dressing of stone, it won't really jump up all over the place. If this was perlite and some of the clay particles that we use, they would be jumping around all over the place. So to give it a bit of a spray, takes out, as Tom says, the surface tension and allows you to lock in the material, and then you can come in with any type of watering system and give it a really good water. And it's not really shown here because these stones wouldn't have moved with this watering. You'd have had to have really had something heavy to knock it all over the place. But we're going to run through a full 2 litres of water through this mix and make sure that it's fully drenched, fully wet, to make sure that the micus, the azus can be activated and start hopefully working its magic. I'm getting some blockages in my watering unit here. There's nothing coming through the bottom as yet, so it's holding quite a bit of the moisture. I think I can just see some trails of water working their way through, but it will be nice free draining. So we'll give it a good thorough watering and we'll leave it for a good 10-15 minutes before we move it from the potting station. Again, getting a bit of blockage in there. I'm just going to come in without the lid on. The stones again won't move too much, and we'll just get the opportunity to pour a lot of water through, and this will soak the azus, it will soak the micus bag, and hopefully it'll activate the roots, stimulate them to grow. We'll keep this tree in here, in the light, in the heat, and it will prevent it going into dormancy too soon, too quick, and hopefully it will continue, it will live on and grow. So there we are, it's all watered in. You can see the pools of water running through the bottom into the tray, and it does look nice and green. It was chopped at the top there and it's had some pruning at some stage, but we're going to just leave it for 10-15 minutes. I'll put the camera on charge so that we don't have a low battery when we come back, and then we'll continue with some of the new items that were obtained this last week. Our trip to Greenwood Bonsai Studio, meeting Corin Tomlinson, and the other new little bits and bats that we've got. So last week I went to Greenwood Bonsai Studios on my way back from Leicester. They're based in Arnold near Nottingham, and they have a massive selection of trees, pots, everything and anything you could need. You can find them online. I'll put the link to Greenwood Bonsai in the description below, and there's some really, you know, well-educated, knowledgeable people there. I spent probably about 2 hours in the nursery, in the studio, conversing with Corin and the guys that work there with him, and I couldn't resist but go through the pots, and at these prices I couldn't resist not bringing some back. I can see some of these being nice for either some Ficus religiosas or some of the jades that deserve to be in a nicer pot. So yeah, some of these pots are really nice for us, and he did have a lot of other really nice pots. I could have spent a fortune, but I spent about £40 in total, just over £40, and I could have done a lot more in trees with a lot of the trees that he's got there to sell for people. So yeah, get yourselves along to Greenwood Nurseries if you can. Again, I'll put the link down the bottom. And Corin Tomlinson, you know, he's the knowledge and experience is pretty vast. He was trained by William Valvanis, so that tells you pretty much all you need to know there. So I've had a few requests for updates to see how the horse chestnuts are getting along, and here they are. We've got 8 of them here, all growing really nicely. I can't remember how many we had originally. I can't remember any dying or being thrown away or anything catastrophic going wrong with them. So I believe that we've got all of them here, all growing. Some of them have got some real nice trunks developing. Some of them are a bit smaller, but with some interesting turns and movement developed within the trunk, all natural. Nothing's been done to them, they've not been wired or anything. But as you can see, some of them are quite short, so that's about 7 or 8 inch tall, that one. And then some of them are quite tall. This one over a foot tall at the back, with some big leaves and some big growth on them, very sticky at the buds. Yeah, they've just done really well. They've continued to do well. They've continued to grow. I've not had to do a great deal with them. There's some nice little leaves on that one there, if you can just pick them up amongst the larger leaves. So this smaller one got some nice little leaves growing in there. That'll probably mean that the roots are quite compacted in there. So yeah, we could probably do with doing some sort of repotting on these. Hopefully we can wait until about February, beginning of March next year. Try and keep them in these pots for now. But no, they've been doing really well. What I'll do is I'll just set up the turntable and let you have a look at them individually, because it's obviously a bit of a mess in there. So as you can see, there's a lot of variance in the size of how these have all grown. They were all planted at the same time, they all germinated and sprouted out at the same time, and this one has, you know, it's grown the strongest and the hardest and the biggest. The others have done okay. The trunks are nice. There's a lot of nice movement on some of these trunks. This one has some nice movement. It comes out and then goes up. This one here, it's got some nice movement before it goes upwards. So yeah, we've got some interesting possibilities for these going forward. So those are all very nice and growing very strong, but we have a new addition, if I can bring you round to it. Bought this Thursday night from the Bonsai Society Club meeting, and this is about 40 years old. It's a horse chestnut, the same. It's got a really nice base, lots going on. Just come round to the side. I have built this up a little bit. It was a little bit shallower in the pot, and I just built it up a little bit to just to water it, and you know, I stuck it in the car and brought it home. But for £40 I could not say no. Yeah, it's got a long way to go. Somebody's put some wire on it to lower a branch at the back there. We can work with that, but obviously the leaves are turning now due to the time of year, so all I'm going to do is keep it happy. It will be sat outside. You can see it's had a branch taken off at some stage there, so we'll be able to work with that. It's a little bit bulbous in this area, a little bit inverse taper there, but you know, it's kind of natural. It's what you would see in nature, so it's not ugly, it's not horrible. But yeah, that's at least 40 years old, we're thinking, and you can see I can't get my hand around the trunk. I haven't got the biggest hands in the world, but that's a pretty decent sized trunk. So that's the horse chestnut new addition, and we'll be doing some work on that sometime next year, and those little fellas now have something to aspire to. So that's going to do it for me for today. It's been a good day today. The Bonsai Carboot sale, and having a good look around there. Like I say, I kept my hands in my pockets and only bought those 3 yew trees. But no, it's been a good day. I've got a lot of bonsai work to get on with and catch up with over the next upcoming weeks. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, get the notifications coming in, because there should be an influx of videos from here at Let's Do Bonsai, and we'll be getting a lot of work done, and I'm going to try and capture pretty much all of it or most of it on the GoPro here. So get out there, make the best of the rest of your day. If it's the end of your day, have a great tomorrow. Be kind to others, animals and the planet, and as always, I will see you again in the next one.